I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue.
Beyond
The
ATC
wind, it
connected.
sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the job's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the light.
Hello everyone, welcome to another flight from the Glide Slope channel. Today we are taking this venerable beauty, the Airbus A300-600. We are taking it from here, Toulouse, the venerable Airbus factory airport, and we're taking it to Stuttgart. It's a very intriguing and very well-developed airport by Aerosoft that I loved very much to fly to last time, and now I just want to go back and look at it once more. And we're taking the A300. If you remember, this is my second actual flight with this plane since I acquired it, because the first ever time I tried, we had a serious problem. Then I had to abort the flight because we had this serious problem called a WASM crash with this airplane. But hopefully today that will not happen, because Inibuilds have been updating this aircraft, and most of the issues appear to be resolved. We'll see. And without further ado, let's go to the plane itself, because now we need to handle the ground operations. So first things first, I need to go outside and take out those engine covers. Cover the venerable General Electric CF6, and I can't seem to be able to remove it from the outside. That's odd. We can open the cowlings, but not this. Alright, we can do it on the electronic flight pack, no big deal. Alright, there we are. Welcome to the flight deck. Here's Betsy. He's Andrew's best friend, apparently. And let's get right on to preparing the flight. So I'm just going to load from Simbrief. Here we are from Toulouse. That's Blagnac. That's the city where the Toulouse airport is situated, to Stuttgart. Our departure time will be at 1900 hours, but I believe we're going to skip that for a little bit. And the weather for today appears to be very okay-ish, except for the high temperatures. Look at that, 36 degrees at Toulouse. That's because in Central Europe there's a heat wave going on. Yeah, so this will of course be an issue for performance, but not for this plane. The A300 is quite famous for not being very friendly with weather, but mostly with cold weather. Now, let's go here to the ground equipment. Let's remove the covers. Here we go. So the covers are removed. We got the chokes on. The GPU is also connected. First things first, let's call GSX and let's tell them to board this aircraft. Let's do have your partner for today. All right, so the flight plan is loaded. All we need now is turn on the plane, right? It doesn't work if the plane has no power. So 3 batteries. Just gonna wait for the plane to wake up. We gotta master caution, that's normal. Alright, now let's turn on the external power as we have our GPU connected.
There are no passenger stairs. You will not see passengers visually.
Not again. This usually happens.
There are no passenger stairs. You will not see passengers visually.
This is, I don't know if this has happened. This happens quite a few times with some airports with GSX. Sometimes it's just, it says the jetway is not close to enough to any door, but this is a heavy gate, so I might as well just teleport ourselves somewhere else. Let me see, because I really want this to work. So we're going to reset position. It's quite good. Oh, hello Andrew. Hello Bravo Papa. Thank you for coming. And hello Drexy. The usual suspect Drexy. Thank you for coming, guys. Alright, let's move the plane somewhere else then. So how do we do that? Not customize. Reposition aircraft. Alright, let's see. At gate alpha we got 2 positions that are compatible with this airplane. Alright, so this is on Airbus gate. Well, we can go there, doesn't matter. Just warp me there. Alright, here we go. And we are in the Airbus section of the airport. You can see a lot of, let's go outside. You can see a lot of airplanes that are in various stages of development. There's also a TAP Portugal A330 right there. And some other aircraft. Alright, so I know for a fact that this gate does not have some amenities like the pushback tug, but maybe we can make it work regardless. Alright, external power connected. We just got teleported here, no big deal. Alright, so let's call GSX now and tell him to load the aircraft. Let's see what it does.
Boarding requested.
Alright, boarding requested. Here comes the stairs, as well as the tugs. They are working their way in, so at least boarding will happen. We'll see about pushback. I'm pretty sure. Oh, the pushback tug is there, so we're good. Alright, here we go. Let's start the programming. First things first, let's load the INS system. 3 INS is loaded. Now let's go to the ACAR system, request Simbrief, and here we go. So we are going from Toulouse to Stuttgart, and the alternate is Frankfurt. Our flight level will be 360, cost index 15. That's align RRS with the current coordinates. You can be more precise with this, just like we saw last time with the Fokker. You can be very precise. You just need to make sure that the coordinates are set, and for that you actually have a chart here. I'll show you with that info. Where is that? So airport. There we go. So parking stands and coordinates. You can get all the coordinates for all the parking stands. However, because we are in the Airbus slot, I'm not sure we get those coordinates for this slot here.
Boarding starting.
But in any case, the plane does recognize as close as you can get, and there's no big deal if you load the original coordinates and not the precise ones. Alright, Looks like everything's peachy. We got the LH785, that's our call sign for today, Lufthansa 785. Alright, passengers are being loaded. We're going to import the weights from Simbrief. There we go. Apply to the aircraft. So it's now ready to calculate the weights, except for fuel. As you can see, it's refueling. It takes about 3 minutes to get to the quantity we want, so we're just going to tell it to finish now, and bingo, we got all the weights in. Right. Now, regarding this aircraft's performance, we're going to go for the flight plan, and we are going to request ACARS for our pre-departure clearance. Pretty simple. We get to AOC, pre-flight, and now we fill in these items. So let's go back to flight plan. Here we go. So Blagnac to Stuttgart, cost index 15, that's confirmed. Cruise will be at 360, confirmed. Now let's go check out our weights. Our facility. So first things first, we're going to set the facility as the same as the departure, because that's where we are, and that will be LFBO. So LFBO. I'm doing this with Beyond ATC, of course, with other platforms you might need different ATC facilities, but departure, now the destination is EDDS, Stuttgart, and we got gate, what's the gate number? We need to go outside. I just changed gates, so even if I knew my previous gate, I don't know this one. Alright, I need to go here to the GSX map. So we are currently at gate A120. Alright, good to know. Alright, let's go gate 120. And let's see the 80s. So this is at 80s uniform, and we are seeing that we got wind 130 at 5, variable between 070160, KVOC, temperature is 36, it's very hot, QNH 1013, arrival runway 14 right, departure runway 14 left and 14 right, transition level 050. Hello Misha, welcome to my stream. My good friends are all here today. That's cool. We just requested via ACARS. Now this is an option. You can have either these modernized CDUs, or you can have the old school ACARS screen over here. I prefer this one, to be honest. Alright, CPDLC requested. We're just going to wait for the reply. And there it is. Alright, cleared to EDDS runway 14 right departure via MENS 7 Alpha. Climb 6,000 feet, squawk 1,000. Now, I need to talk about this squawk thing. Let me just prepare everything. So 6,000, I just need to set the departure here. This will be runway 14 Romeo via MENS 7 Alpha. There it is. Done. Insert. Departure is done. We just need to set the altitude 6,000 feet. For that we need the FCU to be operational, which is currently. And now let's set the squawk. Squawk 1000. Now why is that? I've been having a lot of flights recently that squawk me 1000. This is a very European thing. It's a fairly recent measure to simplify airspace. So if you fly within France, Germany, Central Europe mainly, you'll be squawked 1000 for all aircraft. The reason being that all aircraft now have unique IDs provided by the ADS-B system, so it's not required to have a distinctive call sign. You do need to squawk 1000, then the system will broadcast the necessary information to the ATC controllers. So that's the reason why I'm running into a lot of squawk 1000 flights. And it is what it is. It's a little strange because we used to be given unique call signs, and you still are given in some countries in Europe, like Portugal, for example. But Central European countries adopted this system, and apparently it works very well. I don't know. Alright, send. We will comply. Right, this is done. We're still loading passengers. Let's turn here to our weight and balance page. Here we go. And let's insert our performance data. So, apparently passengers are loaded. We're just going to turn on everything, getting ready to get out of Dodge. Let's arm the emergency lights. Let's turn on everything we need to turn on here. There it is, some oxygen supply. Let's turn on the pitot heats and window heaters. We just leave the pumps off for now. We'll be turning them on in a moment. Let's get this back to tune, and this can get back to ACARS. AOC. Alright. Looks like everything's completed, including cargo. So let's start our APU for now. We will return to the rest of the systems after we finish our prep. Just waiting a few seconds. Start APU. Alright. Nav accuracy also upgraded, so INS is aligned. We got everything set up here. Let's go to the initialization page. Let's insert our zero fuel weight as well as our block fuel. This will give us our takeoff cross weight. Now let's go for the CG and our current max CG zero fuel weight. There it is. So max zero fuel weight is 28.4. Hello? Oh, I keep forgetting this. 28.4. There's our CG right there, so we got everything set up. As for the V-speeds, we'll get to that in a moment as we need to calculate them. Let's go to takeoff performance. Alright, let's sync the weight. Let's also insert the weather data. So we got for LFBO, we got wind set to 130. Oops, 120 at 5. OAT is 36, quite hot. And our altimeter is 1013. Done. And now we can calculate. Oh, well, hold on a second. Air conditioning set to on, sorry. Flaps 15, and force toga off. Calculate. There we go. So V1 is 156, VR is 160. 156, 160. And now the V2, we need the FCU operational, so I'm always unsure if we can turn it on. We can. So V2 is going to be 163. So we set it up here. There we go. Set constraints, 15. Flight director is on. Looks cool and peachy and nice. And now let's set up our flags for takeoff, which will be 63 degrees. So we're basically fooling the aircraft to think it's 63 degrees outside. So we can derate the takeoff. Alright, that will take us to 99.2 target and 105 throttle limit for takeoff. Cool. Our true outside temperature is 36 though. Alright, here we go. everything's peachy. The APU is available. Let's trim air for the engines to start them up. And now we're going to start clearing the airplane for the pushback. So we come back here to ground equipment. We close all cargo doors and passenger doors. And we tell GSX to prepare for push and start. This will clear the stairs. Very nice stairs with,
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
with the accordion seal here. Alright. So if GSX wasn't available to pushback, we get this manual pushback here. RTC, we got a message from ATC.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Clearance confirmed. Just standard stuff. Alright. Bypass pin has been removed. Inserted, sorry. And the tug is going to join us. So we are going to the ground frequency.
Locking gear.
Let's go.
14 left. Taxi to stand uniform 32 via Mike 4 November 4 Papa Tango.
Via Mike 4 cross runway 14 left. Taxi to stand uniform 32 via Mike 4 November 4 Papa Tango. Speedbird 374.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, ramp uniform 11 request pushback and engine start.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Leg at ground. Pushback and engine start approved. Face south.
Pushback
Release
and
parking
engine
brakes.
start approved. Face south, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Parking brake released. We need to also remove the tug, jocks and the GPU. Parking brake released.
Commencing push.
Waiting for the authorization to start the engines.
Clear to start engines.
Copy, clear to start. Start A, and let's start number 2. Valve is open. Gonna wait for 20% on N2 and we can inject fuel. There it is, injecting fuel. Lots of pretty planes around, A350s. Yeah, it is, Misha. Pretty cool airplane. Engine stabilizing. I need to return to the A350. Yeah, Betsy's with us. Hello, Betsy. People are saying hi. Alright,
Set parking brakes.
parking brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Copy. So let's start number 2 now. Number 1, sorry. Valve is open. It's a start valve, by the way. Waiting for 20% N2. Here it goes, injecting. Very different from modern day starters. Yeah, especially the Airbus is very simple. Alright, we got a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Here goes number 1. Oh, the pumps. Huh. I keep forgetting something. Always I'm forgetting. I said it earlier. Let's do this afterwards. I ended up forgetting. Typical me. That's the cockpit flow. That's the reason why we have
Tow track
checklists.
disconnected, bypass pin removed.
Copy.
Left is clear, right is clear.
Hey, firm. Let me just get the airport charts for the en route. That's this one, these ones. So we are probably going to get this route here. We'll see. Let's call it in.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, ready to taxi to the active.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, taxi to holding point Mike 11, runway 14 right, via Lima 1, Tango 101, Papa 101, Mike 11.
Taxi to holding point Mike 11, runway 14 right, via Lima 1, Tango 101, Papa 101, Mike 11, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
So basically, we are going through 101, Mike 11, right here to runway 14 right. So pretty close. So we just need to go down at Lima 1 and then turn right, and we'll be right on it. Pretty close actually. Good thing I picked this parking spot, I suppose. New company message. Let's just make sure it's not an abort flight stuff. No, it's just the same one. I just didn't clear it correctly. Alright, here we go. Fully ready. Ground equipment cleared. We can shut down the APU now. As well as the bleed. Everything looks peachy. No smoking on. TCAS is set standby. We're gonna set it to transponder for now. This one. Here we go. Parking brake off. And we are rolling. Turn on track IR for your viewing pleasure. Beautiful A350s. I'm doing okay, Andrea. How about you? You okay? Lots of planes to deliver from Toulouse, Blagnac Airport for Airbus. So we're now rolling downhill and we'll be needing to turn right up front. Let's go inside and appreciate this baby. Beautiful aircraft, beautiful livery. Old school retro Lufthansa back in the day. It's amazing. When this plane was built, there was no such facilities as we now have on Toulouse. And there was a lot of doubts. People doubted that Airbus would get anywhere. I mean, it's completely reasonable. There was nothing outside what Boeing was building. So it's pretty incredible how far Airbus reached. Just confirm here that I'm doing the right path. Nope, we should have turned. I mean, I think I still can turn. I said it myself. It was supposed to be right there on the. On the first right-hand turn, and I missed it. I'm just gonna cut a little grass. It's right there. My bad. There's a plane there. What is that? What company is that? Anybody knows what company this is? Weird logo, never seen that.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, contact Blagnac Tower 118.1.
Over to Tower 118.1, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Switch to the tower. let's continue our flight preparations. Full deflection left, full deflection right. And we need to go to the controls, flight controls page. Full pitch up, full pitch down, neutral, full rudder right, full rudder left, and we're done. Set flaps 15-15. So these are the slats. They should go down to 15, and the flaps going down to 15 as well. Set this to preset, and now let's set the 250 knots as further for the next speed. Done. Alright, looks like we're cool. Let's call it in.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, ready for departure. Runway 14 right.
Runway's there.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Black Neck Tower, wind 130 degrees, 10 knots, runway 14 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 14 right, cleared for takeoff. Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
So we are clear for takeoff. Let's call people in the back and tell them so. Oh, we don't have calls here. Too bad. We are cleared for departure.
Approaching 14 right. On runway 14 right.
There we go. Set flags. This button here. Here we go. Airspeed alive. Thrust is set. Veering off to our, looking down at the instruments. V1, rotate. Brake supply, positive rate, gear up. Gear coming up.
Contact Toulouse departure 123.85, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Toulouse departure, Lufthansa 785 Heavy, passing 2,500 feet, climbing to flight level 060.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Toulouse departure, identified, climb flight level 180.
Climb flight level 180, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Autopilot 1 engaged. Set profile in nav. Speed check. Flaps up. Speed check. Slats up. We should have turned. Let's turn it for. Should have made a turn, but I didn't engage nav mode on takeoff, that's why. gonna get there eventually, so let's set 052 or something. After takeoff checklists. Oops, this one. Leave the wing light, just turn off lights off. Passing transition, correct. 050, yes. So let's set standard. Set and cross-checked. We're gonna leave this one with the current. Altimeter, you will notice it's still 1013, that's because that's the standard altitude as well, standard QNH. So weird to fly an Airbus with a yoke, isn't it? We're so used to the side sticks that we tend to forget there was an era where the A300s and the A310s had a yoke. But like I said in the last flight, there's a lot of Airbus DNA here. You can easily identify a lot of stuff that you can set TCAS. TARA done. Including the memos. Memos are so important, so helpful. Passing 10,000 feet, external lights off. Just making a quick check, see if everything looks okay. Oh, galley power was off. Poor guys, didn't have any light back there. A lot of stuff that I forget is clearly because I don't have a second pair of eyes looking at stuff. There's a reason why crews are more than one person. And this is a good demonstration why a single pilot crew will never work. Even if Mr. O'Leary, owner of Ryanair, thinks otherwise. Let's see, let's get back to nav mode, see if it follows nav. There it is. Now it's following nav again. Pretty smooth takeoff. No, this is analog. This is analog flying. Fly-by-wire was still far down the road with the A320 thing. Cabin pressure. Good. So here we are. Cabin pressure, as long as it stays in the green, as we continuously climb, this will take the altitude from our FCU. So currently our altitude is set to 1800. Or sorry, yes, 18,000, not 1800. So it will pressurize to that current, to the equivalent of that altitude. As you can see, the cabin is now climbing at 100 feet per minute. We're not climbing that fast. We're 1,500, 2,000 feet per minute to climb. And yeah, it's all automated, just like the modern day aircraft. In fact, I think the A300 is one of the very first airplanes to have an automatic system for this. So a lot of stuff here is automated, although there's a lot of buttons. Most of them are operating in automated mode. You can see here that sometimes the buses kick in. For example, you just saw the battery 3 being charged by the bus. This is a pretty cool feature. So the plane drains and automatically switches between lanes and hydraulic pumps and all that upon request. So
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, contact border control 125.105.
Contact border control 125.105, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Have a good evening. Border control, Lufthansa 785 Heavy, passing flight level 155, climbing to flight level 180.
here we go.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, border control, identified, climb flight level 360.
Climb flight level 360, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
is our cruise altitude. As you can see here, we're still following the SID all the way to Mende VOR. I said MEN 7 Alpha, but it's actually MEN 7 Alpha. This is our SID for the departure. Yeah, well, they are already flying airplane that testing airplanes with using AI, and there's already been a few successful flights. Actually, Airbus did a couple of those last month. They've been doing a lot of flights, but the last couple of flights last month were very successful using AI to completely fly the plane from takeoff to landing. Of course, none of those flights have passengers on board, but it looks like it's going to be the future, at least in a fail-safe system in the beginning. Like, if pilots fail, the AI can kick in. Maybe as a flight protection envelope, so if the pilots commit mistakes, the AI can take controls from their hands and attempt to correct their errors. I think that's the initial implementation of the future of AI in aviation, and then afterwards, who knows? Who knows? It has been said that the plans involve, oh, I forgot this, the plans involve actually replacing at least one pilot. And in the future, you already seen automated taxi cars, so taxis that drive for themselves, but still require sometimes human intervention. I think that's what's going to happen. The AI will fly the plane completely and the
Lufthansa
pilot...
785 Heavy, contact border control 124.83.
Contact border control 124.83, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Have a good evening.
The plane will fly itself.
Border control, Lufthansa 785 Heavy, passing flight level 198, climbing to flight level 360.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, border control identified.
So the plane will fly itself towards the destination, and the pilots on board will just monitor, which is pretty much what's happening today. Pilots on board turn on the autopilot. They turn on the autopilot mid-climb, and then they will only turn it off for landing. With the advent of AI, the pilots will never turn off autopilot. They will just monitor and take control in case something happens. And the checklists will be performed by the airplane itself. It will know when something is wrong and it will try or attempt to fix. That's the future, I'm afraid. I'm not saying I agree with that. I definitely do not agree with that. But you know, humans do make mistakes. AI can be trained not to make mistakes. And maybe that's a good thing. But maybe, like pretty much any other profession out there, pilots may have their profession endangered by AI in the future. That can very well happen. Like I said, pilots make mistakes, Mitch. So the argument is that AI can make less mistakes and correct itself, not to repeat those mistakes. And maybe the selling point is just that. AI can fly better, but still requires humans to monitor it. But at some point, just like self-driving cars, you're gonna pass the controls. The reason why AI still hasn't thrived in aviation, or self-piloting aircraft haven't thrived, is just because passengers are still afraid to be flown by a machine. That's the only reason. That's also the only reason you still have two pilots on the cockpit. because people's perception is everything in this world of aviation, and they don't want to scare passengers away. That's it. Everything else you hear about AI not being developed or not having enough computing power or whatever, that's a whole bunch of baloney. I've seen AI do a lot of things already, even things you would think only humans could do, but I've seen AI do it, and although I don't agree with it, I can't help but be impressed by it. The point is, people that want to make money, they don't really care about what you feel, as long as you pay. If you're scared to fly with a machine on board, they will delay it. But if it's cheaper, oh, be sure that, oh, this was turned off. There we go. Be sure that one day AI will take over, just like with cars. I remember some years ago, people were complaining about self-driving cars. They would say, ah, this was never gonna happen. And here we are, self-driving cars. Maybe not in Europe yet, but in the United States, it's pretty common. Even Amazon delivery now is performed by drones in the United States. And it will become worse and worse with AI replacing people's jobs. Let's turn off the signal signs. Yeah, AI can be hacked, yes, but fail-safe mechanisms can be put in place. I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed it will never be hacked, but it's going to be very hard. And once a hack happens, then they can just create a new system to prevent that. It's easy as that. It's just like what happened with Boeing 737 MAX. Yes, the MCAS system was dangerous. Yes, Boeing failed to present it correctly to the pilots. Yes, it caused a couple of deadly accidents. But it's been corrected and the planes are back in flight. And it was a very serious accident. Maybe if that had happened 40 or 50 years ago, Boeing would close doors the next day. But things changed so much. People now think of money above people. So companies will think about profiteering above anything else, even above you that pay the tickets. That it's a life on board.
Auto control, Ryanair 10 Bravo Zulu, flight level 360.
AI doesn't get paid. AI doesn't complain about work conditions. AI has no affiliation or syndication. AI doesn't protest, you know. It's a very sweet proposal for companies. Do you think AI was developed for your own good, for mankind's welfare? Of course not. AI was created to give money, generate money, or to decrease expenses with personnel. And the smarter it gets, the easier it replaces you and me. You'll see. Yeah, maybe hopefully later than sooner, but Misha, no one would think 10 years ago that you would have AI on your phone, that you could engage with a conversation. 10 years sounds like a lot of time, but it isn't. In aviation, 10 years is the difference between the propeller or the propeller engine and the jet engine. That's the huge difference of developing time, you know. World War II, you reached the pinnacle of propeller engines because war made the engines more efficient. There were propeller aircraft that could fly very high in the air. They were faster, they were had a lot more endurance, and all of a sudden the jet engine showed up. And in less than 10 years, the jet engine almost completely replaced the turbo, not the turboprop, the prop engine. So nowadays you very rarely still have propeller engines, and that's basically for civilian training aircraft and all that. But as for airliners, it's either turboprop or jet, pure jet, and they're both. Turboprop is also a jet engine. So yeah, so we're seeing here we got TAT and icing range. Our TAT temperature is now 0 degrees at this altitude. We can turn on the engine MTIs just for precaution, as long as this icing range detection is in there. No, it wasn't. No, actually, it wasn't developed for the people, it was developed for companies. And they're giving us AI in a very small chunk for our enjoyment. It's really helpful in some areas, but the big chunk...
Lufthansa 785 heavy. Marseille control. Lufthansa 785 heavy, passing flight level 2907, climbing to flight level 360 direct LATAM.
Lufthansa 785 heavy, Marseille control identified.
Alright. Like I was saying, this did AI, the big chunk of AI computations in the hands of Big Corpo. So Big Corpo has access to AI you can't even imagine how advanced it is. Always remember this: if you have the technology in your hands and it impresses you, be sure that there's something more advanced elsewhere being used by Corpo. Yeah, it's in icing range, but I mean, it is hot outside, but we don't deal with heat at altitude the way we do it on the ground level. So if the system detects the icing is in range, if there are clouds, we don't have clouds, but we do have mist, there's a slight chance there could be icing formed. We don't turn on the wings because we have, I mean, we can visually see ice forming. It's much more, if there is ice, it will always form on the engines, on the engine nacelles first. But the procedure is, in flight, in cruise, wing anti-ice is never used, or very rarely used. If we go into clouds, then we should turn on wing anti-ice. But as for engines, it's much different because of the nacelle exposure, and you know, you turn on the anti-ice around the engine nacelle, just a precaution. Alright, we're getting closer to our cruise altitude. I already turned off the seatbelt signs. So turning on the anti-ice, engine anti-ice, is just a precaution. There's no indication here. We can make calculations. I'm sorry, I'm not that proficient with these calculations, but there are calculations based on the ISA deviation. So at this altitude there's a table you can consult. If it's below a certain temperature, basically below 10 degrees Celsius, and then down there, if there's condensation, which there is, so there's some mist in the air, we can perfectly see the mist right now, injected by our good friends at StrataWX. There's a slight chance of icing, and yes, it can happen in hot days, don't be fooled. In fact, I remember a situation with propeller aircraft like Cessnas, and beautiful clear days with a hot climate. So climate is hot at the ground level, but there's some mist in the air at some altitude. You can actually have your carburetor freeze once you start descending. That has happened, and it's a very serious situation because the engine dies. Of course, we don't have carburetors in jet engines, but the idea is if there's mist and there's TAT and icing range, then you should turn on your anti-ice as a precaution. If there's no mist outside, pure blue skies, I mean it is blue, but there is a mist. If there's no mist around you, then by all means don't use it. So the anti-ice system on this type of aircraft is the hot air is bypassed from the engine into the nacelles. Let me see if I can show you a nacelle here so we can have a look. There we go. So these are gray areas, metal gray areas. These are the nacelles. So hot air is bypassed from the engine and injected here around. So the hot air is now circulating around the nacelle once the anti-ice is operational. Same thing happens with the wings and the stabilizers as well as the vertical fin. On some aircraft, I don't think this one has it. No, this one does not have it, but some aircraft also has anti-ice systems on the vertical fin. Most likely it's the horizontal stabilizer as well as the wing. These gray areas you're seeing right here. Some aircraft have alcohol-based anti-ice system, like liquid is poured through the little holes, but most planes it's just hot air circulating inside these sections here. And other planes have what's called boots. These are expandable rubber surfaces that expand and contract using also engine on and bleed air. And they will expand and contract, and with that they will break the ice. Those are mostly used on propeller aircraft or turboprop aircraft. Yeah, I know. I was just expanding. Right, we're back in. We're reaching our cruise altitude. Here we go. It's about time we visit the cabin. So, you ready to take control here, Betsy? I think she is. Alright, let's walk around the cockpit. You guys know the cockpit from the last video. This is a very old school cockpit. The very first A300 had an engineering panel, so the engineer would sit right about here. It would actually take a small portion of this window. We actually saw that also with the MD-11. They also removed the engineer station, but the engineer station does take a little small portion of the co-pilot's window. And this is where the co-pilot station, the engineer station would be.
Control 132.385 Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
There she is working for us.
Marseille Control, Lufthansa 785 Heavy, flight level 360.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Marseille Control identified.
Alright, this is a very spacious cockpit. It's actually the same size as the A330, slightly pushed back a little bit because the panel is a little more, it's a little bigger, it's a little bit wider than on the A300. But overall, it is the A300 inheritance to the A330s, this cockpit and the window design and all that. And this plane, of course, is developed some time ago by Inibuilds, so it's missing the blinds, so it doesn't have any sunshades or blinds. It does have a front blind right here, that's it. We call it visor, but that's about it. Cool fact, this is still present on modern day Airbuses. The hidden compass, pretty cool. I really like it. I think this is the voice recorded microphone. It doesn't look like a microphone, but I think it is. Anyway, let's visit the cabin. There we are. Little galley. Modern day airplanes now have bigger galleys. Enough to have the food in here in the trays, as well as the ovens here, I believe 2 ovens here, yes, and a very important coffee making machine. There's a loo here, or lavatory. The doors don't open, sorry. but there is a loo inside. No mirror. The mirrors were kind of a thing in the 1990s and forward. This plane is older than that. So, first class, I believe Lufthansa had only first class and economy, and this is exactly what we got here. Second galley, slightly bigger, but it also has a lot more people to serve. Nice leg room for this lady here, but not this gentleman with the big slider in here. So these are the sliders, slide raft, you can see here. So this is where the emergency would deploy, the emergency slider would deploy. Notice that the in-flight entertainment is just one screen. We saw that with the L1011, if you guys remember, with the big projector. The A310 also had this type of screen, but also small air screens that would drop from the overhead bins. So something like dropping from here. And they would really drop. I flew the A310 quite some times, and that screen always scared the bejesus out of me when it dropped. Coming back here, everybody's sitting comfortable. Legroom is okay. It was okay back in this time. Then it became rubbish in modern days, for especially with low-cost aviation. Some of these places are repeated, as you can see. These are GSX seated passengers, so at least it's working. It doesn't work on all planes, unfortunately. Here is yet another galley. This one is a lot bigger, so it does supply a lot more passengers. And there's a loo, actually two loos. One in here, another in here, and there are two more on the other side. Actually, this design is pretty cool because you get some privacy coming in and out of the lavatory, but it also takes a lot of room from this air to seat passengers. And nowadays the loos are situated front to front and they occupy a midsection. So this entire area here, although it's very narrow, but you can see that this entire area here takes out so many seats that could be used. I think this is a bed. Not entirely sure what this is. There's nothing outside. Could this be a bed? It could be a bed, like crew rest or something, or emergencies. Not entirely sure. But no, there is no crew rest on this plane, so that's pretty much the next best thing. Can you imagine back in the day, you can pick your own movie, you have to watch what everybody else was watching and like it for the entirety of the flight? Remember that the A300 is a long-range plane, although we're making a fairly short flight today. It could do transatlantic flights. Can you imagine? You cannot choose the film. Well, you could close your eyes and sleep, but people would be listening to the film with headsets, but still. None of this cockpit is interactive, unfortunately. And we're back in our seat. Let's close the door. Bam! Slam. This door is slamming. Yeah. Yeah, I missed the A310 as well. Bye, Drexy. He's watching World Cup. I cannot be bothered with that, unfortunately. I really don't care. So here we are, flying at flight level 360 at 260 knots airspeed. We are actually flying at Mach 0.784 now. So, not the fastest plane on the Earth, for sure. On Earth. But pretty good for its time, I suppose. This airplane comes with two engine variants. This is a General Electric variant, but there's also a Pratt & Whitney. It also comes with the passenger and cargo variant. We flew last time in the cargo variant. Today we're flying in the passenger variant for good measure. Right. Yeah, Mirsha, I just can't be bothered with it. I used to be an aficionado. I used to love football very much until all the background stuff, all the backstage games, you know, that aren't games, the corruption and all that, I decided to let it go. I don't like hypocrisy, let's just say that.
Strata 135.015 Lufthansa 785 heavy.
Let's go
Swiss radar, Lufthansa
to
785
Switzerland.
heavy.
We're now flying over
Flight
Switzerland.
level 360.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Swiss radar identified.
Actually, we're not yet over Switzerland, but we've been handed over already. Just about. So, yeah. Yeah, too much money, too much power, too much interest. That's not really fun. Golden hour. Now you know why it's called golden. It just got the sun just got the light. I guess that was the end of the golden hour.
10,000 feet, QNH 1016.
Descend to 10,000 feet, QNH 1016, Ocean 6 Echo Golf.
Ocean 6 Echo Golf, contact Munich approach 132.305.
Contact Munich approach 132.305, Ocean 6 Echo Golf. Swiss radar, Alpine 67 Hotel Romeo, flight level 713.
Alpine 67 Hotel Romeo, Swiss radar identified.
Swiss radar, Malibu to Alpha Tango, good evening, flight level 360.
Malibu to Alpha Tango, Swiss radar identified.
The old school Lufthansa. 1980s, 1990s. No, maybe 1980s more than 1990s. I believe by the 1990s they removed this blue stripe and stuck with the white on top and gray on the bottom. But they kept the tail, the blue tail with the yellow logo. And that stuck around till the mid-2000s when they started, not the mid-2000s, sorry, the mid-2010s, when they started painting the tails in darker blue, almost black. And they gave up on the gray under the lower section. That's us.
Cleared route of 5 Alpha, arrival to runway 07, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Now let's see if we get a crash. Alright, so probably ILS will improvise, if not via the route 5 alpha. There it is. No transition. Let's see. Do we get a crash? No crash. Awesome. So let's
Swiss radar, column T6, Juliet Lima, flight level 410. Column T6, Juliet Lima, Swiss radar, identified.
so route 5 alpha. There it is. So let's spin this. Let's get our arrival. That's route and approach. ILS. 07. So let's pick the ILS 207, CAT 2 and 3, RP, and VOR. What's this SRA? All runways. So our ILS for runway 07 is 109.5. And our course will be 072. Here we go. Alright. No engine NTIs required.
785 heavy, report ready for descent.
Will do.
Will go Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Call the passengers back to their seats.
Column T6, Juliet Lima, clear Betos 1 Alpha, arrival runway 08 right. Clear Betos 1 Alpha, arrival runway 08 right, column T6, Juliet Lima.
So looking in at our approach plate, Route 5 Alpha will take us out of Rutel directly to Stuttgart VOR. After that, we will probably need vectors for the ILS because we need to get out of Ruter and then perform this turn here. Let's see if we get a transition here. I don't think we do. We don't have a transition here. So we might need radar vectoring, or we just go directly to Hamburg VOR and then turn left. We'll see. That's exactly where we are here. And we probably have a discontinuity here. No. We don't have a discontinuity.
Quality 5 Victor Alpha, clear Dijon 9 Echo, arrival runway 08 right. Clear Dijon 9 Echo, arrival runway 08 right, quality 5 Victor Alpha.
So our top of descent is way up there. Right here. You can see the hockey stick here. After Zooey. So that's the reason why we didn't call ready for descent yet. No need to start descending like crazy. We can also tune in this VOR. So this is Stuttgart. So this is the VOR we'll go, then we need to turn left. Let's set our decision right here. Approach, we're going to land with flaps 30-40. Our MDA will be at 1467. 1467. Our VAP will be 130. Okay, also.
Dublin T6 Juliet Lima report ready for descent. Ready for descent.
So,
Dublin T6 Juliet
whether
Lima.
it's Stuttgart is 350 at 5.
QNH 1016. Descent to 10,000 feet. QNH 1016. Dublin T6 Juliet Lima.
Temperature is
Dublin T6
28.
Juliet Lima. Contact Munich approach 132.305.
Oh, wait. Synced. No need no extra speed. Let's calculate. So our landing distance, our latent net factored landing distance is 1740.
Lufthansa 785 heavy descent to flight level 180.
It's not
Descent
waiting
to
for
flight
us.
level 180, Lufthansa 785 heavy.
Let's go to 180 then. He's impatient, isn't he? Alright, here we go. Doesn't work the same way. Alright, level change. Here we go. It's descending now. So when we start descending before the optimal path, the plane will descend at a certain rate to keep up with the pre-selected max speed. So for that, we're just going to reduce our max speed here so that we don't accelerate way beyond the plane's capabilities. And the plane will trade descent rate for speed, and vice versa.
Alpine 67 Hotel Romeo, contact Paris Control 132.38. Center on 132.38, Alpine 67 Hotel Romeo.
When flying at altitudes, there's no significant danger, but once we go through clouds over areas we know there are mountains about, make sure you don't descend way too much beyond your VDAV. So right now we're below VDAV, but it would be much preferable if you would just control your descent rate. So on an A320, a modern day Airbus, we go in open descent. The plane will go at 1,000 feet per minute until it interlocks with our VNAV, basically. That's the preferable option if you need to descend before the top of descent. If not, if you can delay to the very moment that you start descending for your top of descent, the better. So we've been flying for 1 hour exactly. It's not a long flight today. Yeah, we're gonna need radar vectors because there's no transition between that VOR and the ILS approach. So basically what I'm saying is this is the star and we are going to approach over here, and as you can see there's the airport right there. So there's no way I can just turn around and land. So I need vectors to probably go forth and then turn right and then intercept the ILS. That's most likely what's going to happen, so we will be needing radar vectors for that.
Center on 132.385, Alpine 47 Papa Tango.
Fun fact, the A300 does not have curved route between waypoints. It's straight lines. You have an option on the menu to change this to curves, but if you're a purist, you might as well leave them as original as it can. Now, see that these are clouds, very thick clouds actually, and we are within icing range, so I'm going to turn on the engine anti-ice again, because we will be cruising through these clouds here, and they look very dense. There's also a cloud layer above, not as dense. So that's probably why the temperature is lower at Stuttgart. There's probably some bad weather or even rain. Yeah, I mean, these CDUs are not original, but they have been equipped on some A300s. The other option is just this huge CDU, not CDU, this MFD. It's like a selecting screen. It's a CRT monitor that's stuck here. Is it better than this? No, it's much worse. So if there was an option to have this, why not? It's just like on the L1011, you have that route screen here. That's not equipped on all L1011s for sure, but Inibuilds made it available for those that want it, and I wanted it, and I have it. I know not every L1011s have it. I could also have picked the curved lines here. There's an option in the menu for that, but I decided not to. All the clouds are clearing. Woo! Hello. I think we're in the soup. Yes, we are in the soup. And it looks like we're being boxed in by these clouds. I think Strata needs to make this a little smoother.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, contacts with radar 133.905, bye-bye.
Contacts with radar 133.905, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
And we're in the soup.
Good evening, Swiss radar, Lufthansa 785
It got
Heavy,
dark
passing
pretty
flight
fast,
level
didn't it?
229er, descending to flight level 180.
I think I can light things up a little bit.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Swiss radar identified. Lufthansa 785 Heavy, descend flight level 100.
Descend flight level 100, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
So we came out of clear skies into the soup. So here's Reutel, that's this point here. And as you can see, the landing is over there. We can't fly straight to it, so we might get radar vectors out of this VOR here. So it's Stuttgart VOR at 116.85. But apparently there's no significant weather over the airfield, but we do have a lot of weather around it. Let's turn on terrain here just for the sake of not barring ourselves against some mountain. Definitely see Zippo outside. We're just past below 20,000 feet. Our local QNH is 1014. We really need to know that. Actually 1016. My bad. It's no longer in the icing zone, so it's thunderstorm.
785 Heavy, contact Stuttgart Director 119.85.
Contact Stuttgart Director 119.85, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Stuttgart Director, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Good evening, passing flight level 177, descending to flight level 100 with information Yankee.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Stuttgart Director, good evening, QNH 1016, expect the ILS approach runway 07 with the Romeo Echo Uniform 07 transition.
QNH 1016, expect the ILS approach runway 07 with the Romeo Echo Uniform 07 transition. Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Transition is 050. So we are going to go for the ILS with the Rio 07 transition.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, clear direct route, cross route at or above flight level 120, cleared ILS approach approach runway 07.
Cleared direct Ruto, cross Ruto at or above flight level 120. Cleared ILS approach runway 07, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
So we are near.
260 Alpha, maintain 4,000 feet until established on the
For some reason it's not giving me the Lubbock VOR.
Maintain 4,000 feet until established. Cleared ILS approach runway 07,
So
260
there's
Alpha.
no transitions available.
Stuttgart director, Eurowings to
Oh yes, there are.
passing flight level 119.
Alright, much better now.
With information 90.
We are below the cloud layer.
Eurowings to Charlie Alpha, Stuttgart director.
Now it's clearing. It's a bit too fast, guys, at Strata.
Approach runway 07.
You guys need to make this a lot slower.
Eurowings to Charlie Alpha.
It is still overcast though. So we need to be at 4,000 feet. For the ILS. Let's set that up. The plane will of course obey to the constraints as usual. Let's go back to the route approach. There we go. So we need to fly out of Ruta to the Stuttgart VOR and then to the Lubbock VOR and then turn right and perform that other approach that we set up here, right here. Confirming the ILS frac 109.5 072 109.5 072, correct. Pretty straightforward. We're still in the soup. I don't think tilt is working on this one. But we're going to set our tilt to 0 for now. Clouds are clearing. Still a bit too fast on that clearance. I mean, active sky would be pretty much the same. I was just looking forward for the weather injected. It would be smoother on the transitions. Strata is getting there. It's just needs to be polished a little bit. Let's just say that. We're going to overfly Stuttgart Airport at some point here. This is Stuttgart beneath us. We passed 10,000 feet, so external lights on. No, actually, not yet. We'll turn those on. We are going to turn on the nose to take off and the runway turn off as soon as we drop the gear. So you see there's a steep turn here. If it was an A320, it would draw a smooth turn around, but not this plane. It's going to be a very straightforward turn here. We're actually going below the desired altitude here. We should be at 5,000, not 4,000. There we go. So the plane does not obey constraints because we were in flight level change. We should be in profile. We will turn on profile after we pass LBU. Oh, clouds are gone. Yeah, Strata still needs some work when it comes to extrapolating stations, between stations. Actually, we should be at 10,000. We're not going to get there, but I'm going to make the plane to climb to that level because that's the constraint here for some reason. It didn't. Well, I know why it didn't. Why I pressed level change instead of profile. Here goes. There's Stuttgart. That's the airport we'll be landing in a moment.
Eurowings to Charlie Alpha. Maintain 4,000 feet until established on the final approach course. Clear ILS approach runway 07. Maintain 4,000 feet until established to clear ILS approach runway 07. Eurowings to Charlie Alpha.
Past the VOR, is going to the next VOR, then we'll turn left and intercept the corridor to the ILS. I'm just climbing right now to obey to this constraint, and we should be flying above 10,000 feet at LBU. Because I was in flight level change, the plane disobeyed the constraints and decided to fly beyond the constraint, and that's not a desirable situation. Not at all. That would not have happened if I didn't set the altitude below the assigned altitude. That was my bad, and a bad decision there. Correctable, but still bad. There we go, making our turn. In a moment, Misha. Now we're going to select profile. Select 4,000 feet. Track IR just died. It's odd. I did a lot of flying these days. Not on my channel, offline. My track IR is a battery, so whenever I use it for an extended period of time, of course, the battery dies. That's completely expected. God. Okay. Much better. So let's go direct to DS418. So this will help the plane guide itself back to on the path where we want to go as it continues to descend. Next constraint is flight level 080, and we're already below it, so I'm gonna... Well, let's keep it up. Let's keep going. Soup.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, you're off course. Clear direct DS434. Resume on navigation.
Wilco. Clear direct DS434. Resume on navigation. Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
DS434. I'm complying with what he told me to do. Am I not? It is going a bit off course now, but I am complying with what he told me to do. Let's not go all the way up.
Stuttgart Director, During 6 Papa Romeo, good evening, passing flight level 124.
Altimeter setting.
You're right.
During 6 Papa Romeo, Stuttgart Director, QNH 1016, expect the ILS approach runway 07. QNH 1016, expect the ILS approach
Let's
runway 07.
confirm it hasn't changed. It did not. Let's make our turn here to DS412. 072, confirmed. 109 decimal. Oh no, not 05, 109 decimal 5. That's the one. Now we can press the landing system.
All aircraft be advised, information Zulu now current to NH1017.
Intercepting the localizer. And we're beneath the glide slope, just like the manuals mentioned. Whoops. Let's pull the speed towards us. Plane, we need to decel. Activate final approach mode.
Eurowing 6 Papa Romeo, maintain 240 knots. Maintain 240 knots, Eurowing 6 Papa Romeo.
What's going on? Still in cruise mode? Really?
Eurowing 6 Papa Romeo, maintain 220 knots. Maintain 220 knots, Eurowing 6 Papa Romeo.
There we go. Let's go to our V app. Need to decel this plane like crazy. Break out. Well, we are established.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, established 07.
Give them.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, roger. Lufthansa 785 Heavy, contact Stuttgart Tower 118.805.
Contact Tower 118.805, Lufthansa 785 Heavy. Stuttgart Tower, Lufthansa 785 Heavy, ILS approach runway 07.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, Stuttgart Tower, continue.
Roger, Lufthansa
Still not
785
clear to
Heavy.
land. V app is 137. Clears to land, man.
Approaching 07.
Sun Express 6 Whiskey Kilo, contact London radar 125.05. Contact London radar 125.05, Sun Express 6 Whiskey Kilo.
Clear me to land.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, 020 degrees, 11 knots, runway 07 cleared to land.
Runway 07 cleared to land. Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
That was close. Reverse on. Forgot to bricks.
Stuttgart Tower 0 6 Papa Romeo ILS approach runway 07.
Speed brake is out.
0 6 Papa Romeo, Stuttgart Tower, continue.
Local 0 6 Papa Romeo.
Nine 100 meters remaining.
Exit left at Alpha.
Auto brakes
Exit
off.
left at Alpha, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Welcome to Stuttgart.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, contact ground 118.605, bye-bye.
Ground 118.605, Lufthansa
Head back to the
785
terminal.
Heavy. Lufthansa 785 Heavy, request taxi to assigned gate.
Lufthansa 785 Heavy, taxi to stand 56 via Victor Bravo November Hotel Night.
Taxi to stand 56 via Victor Bravo, November, Hotel Night, Lufthansa 785 Heavy.
Okay, so let's get a straight line here. Let's carry on moving. So we are to park to gate stand 56 via Victor. So we are now in November, and then Mike. So it's one of these, probably one of the last few ones we on the side. Let's clear flaps. Speed brakes in. Not a bad flight. Not my best landing ever, but that profile was a bit too steep, a bit too fast, but nothing that we have not handled before. So we got some hot brakes here. Turn on the brake fans. Very hot brakes. I just set to low still. Thank you. Start our APU. When you see me struggling to press these buttons, it's because the click spot is very finicky. It's like in the very center of the object of the button there. Very funny mechanical voice there. This throttle is sluggish to respond. APU is available. It's now coming in. There was a plane landing. Did it land already?
06 Papa Romeo, taxi to stand 40
Yep.
via Victor Bravo
Did.
November, Oscar Lima 3 Mike. Taxi to stand 40
Right,
via
now
Victor
is
Bravo
APU
November,
is available.
Oscar Lima 3 Mike, Euro 6 Papa Romeo.
So now we can single engine taxi. SETI. Some private jets here. Citation jet, King Air. That's a longitude if I'm not mistaken. Another citation jet. CJ2 and CJ3, they're very popular. So we need to continue on this taxi all the way. And I believe we need to turn right here. Because I think our gate is right around here. It's a ramp. Okay. Yep, I can see the marshal there. Alright, let's make a turn here. Some grass here. Very cool airport by Aerosoft. Unfortunately, we'll not go to the terminal because that's only for medium aircraft. But we'll depart from Stuttgart from those gates over there. They're very cool because you can walk inside of them. And it does have all the dependencies there. It's pretty cool. Alright, this is our gate, right? Stand 5-6, correct. There's our marshal. Let's turn in. Hello, what just happened? See, I'm having power and the plane doesn't respond. Let's turn off our accelerators. Raise your little hands and more forward. There we go. Right on the money. Parking brake set. Engine cut off. Done.
Deboarding requested.
Deboarding. Chocks are on. GPU is on. Connecting external power. This does. We're going to turn off the APU. Off the pumps. Hello, come on. See how difficult it is to press in the very center. And you need to find that sweet spot.
Passengers bus is coming.
Stereo can come to off as well. Wing light off. Nav and mobile will stay on. We can turn off the oxygen supply. INS will stay on. Looks cool, looks cool. Seatbelt signs off. No smoking signs remains on. And emergency lights will stay on for now. Alright, let's go outside. Alright everyone, welcome to Stuttgart. Oh, not again, this keeps happening.
Passengers deboarding starting.
The doors, the sliders keep deploying for some reason unknown. I think GSX just asks the doors to open before they're disarmed. This is the only plane where this happens. I need to correct that because it looks funky. So you see here, you need to disarm the doors before you open them. That's pretty much, but that's pretty much known. But for some reason, I think that GSX should do that on its own, but it doesn't. So it leads to this weird situations. Alright, our brakes are still hot, aren't they? Not as hot as before, they're much colder now, but we're gonna leave the brake fans on for the time being. So guys, this was my second flight on the A300 by Inibuilds out of Toulouse all the way to Stuttgart. And let me tell you something, this plane is growing on me. I thought I was gonna like it. I had some severe issues in the beginning, but Inibuilds came through, they solved the issues. Now it flies pretty okay. It's an old school airplane. You still need to be ahead of the plane, which is something I sometimes am not, but at the end of the day, it's all about having fun and problem solving. That's the best thing I think I found in flight simulation. It's the problem solving. It's when you think you do things wrong and you correct them. I think I'm going to fly this plane a lot more. I'm thinking about integrating it in my around the world trip. Because I really believe I can make a couple of flights, or 1 or 2 flights, maybe 1 flight with it, and it will be fun. It's a very specific airplane, very old school mixed with modern stuff, just the way I like it. I prefer to take this plane than to take, for example, the L1011, which is a bit archaic, and it will result in many issues during flight. I think this one is a little more modern, and so it will be a lot better to work with. Whoa, that card is not in the right place, is it? That was some David Copperfield magic right there. Someone is using levitation. Nice. Anyway guys, if you like what you saw, remember, leave a like, subscribe, and also share with your friends if you think they'll like it. There's also a donation possible via Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link in the description if you're interested. There's also a QR code that shows up every once in a while in your top right screen. This was the glide slope saying goodbye. I hope you guys liked it. I need to say thank you. Let me turn off track IR so I don't move my head that much. Let me say thank you to my good friends in the chat. That is Andrew, Mirsha, Drexy, and Bravo Papa. They've all
Passengers
been
bus is
in
coming.
the chat. Mirsha. Yeah, thank you for being here, Mirsha. Have a good night yourself. Guys, see you next time. And remember, when you're feeling blue, there's a blue sky above you. So, I always say the same thing, but it is true. If there's a cloud above, if there's a storm brewing, don't forget the sun is still shining way up above. At night, it's not the sun, it's the moon, but serves the same
Passengers
purpose.
boarding starting.
Better days will come, so hang in there, be positive. Have a good day.
The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dreams begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my below fades out of sight as I soar into the